And prior to that, I was really only using it for like Netflix and things that I put on like right before I go to bed because I had it set up at the TV in front of my bed. But excuse me, this El Segundo is like really hitting
It's
right
getting
now.
you.
Welcome back, everybody. Beers and Boss Battles, episode 6. Here we are. We're going to be talking about Paladins today. We had talked about a little bit in our last stream or our last podcast, and we said we'd touch back on it when we had a little bit more playtime. And so we've done it, and now this is gonna be our topic for today. Um, as always, me, Troy, Rob here. We're gonna be your host for today. We're gonna be talking about this game in pretty good detail, at least as far as the things that we know. But we figured before all else, we'd bring up what we're drinking today. Rob, you can show us, man.
Well,
Make
it's
the
a little
display.
warmer here in New York today. It's at 80 degrees, so I was like, this is going to be a good beer. A nice Corona Premier, a little lower on the calories, but like Corona is such a good warm weather beer, so you can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, I don't, what's funny too, as much as I love like good quality beer, usually good quality beer falls in like, for me, falls on the heavier side. Um,
Yeah.
so, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that that's not good quality. I'm just saying like when you talk about, those like smaller brewing companies, like the IPAs and like all the new stuff kind of coming out,
Yeah.
usually I feel like the can size is usually a pint. So you're having more to begin with, but, yeah, well, if you're in the heat, man, I kind of prefer to have something like that, something
Lighter.
lighter. Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
I do.
100%.
I do. I mean, like as much as I love Guinness, I don't want to drink a Guinness in the summer. At least not outside, maybe indoors, but
Yeah, no, indoors, sure,
it's
but no,
yeah, it's not the beer.
that's like so gross. It's like weighing you down. I'm
Yeah.
drinking this Broken Skull IPA. So it's El Segundo's collaboration with Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh
It's
man.
called Broken Skull. It's a 6.7 ALC. It's 1 pint. It's actually, I can read off the side of this, and there's a little description. It says Broken Skull Indian Pale Ale, a badass 6.7% IPA designed by Steve Austin and El Segundo Brewing Company for the working man and woman. It features Citra, Cascade, and Chinook hops to deliver big flavor with an easy finish. Now stop reading and start enjoying this awesome beer. Cheers. That's
Stop reading
I,
it. That's
I'm
pretty
now I'm
funny how
done.
they threw that in there. That's
Yeah,
cool.
now I'm done. But no, this is actually my favorite beer right now. Just been enjoying this so much, and like I don't know, it just has it's dank enough. It's not crazy, but the hints and like the things really they do pop at you, but not in like um
Mm.
not in an overbearing way where that takes away from the actual taste of the beer. It's super smooth. Um, it's good, man.
They
This is
sell
my
them what in
draw.
4 packs or 6 packs? What do they sell them in?
Usually it's 4 packs.
4 packs.
They
Yeah.
have those little like the clip-ons.
Yeah, a
And
little
it's usually
plastic thing. Yeah.
yeah. So, but this is my shit. This is what I'm drinking today. You got the Corona Extra. Also, too, for anybody watching, we figure we pull up some of our stuff. Rob, you can go ahead and pull up yours. We have our channels where we stream. We do this pretty regularly. Rob probably more so than me right now. That's his thing right here, mixer. His mixer. It's the underscore every underscore gamer. So you guys could definitely go check him out while he's playing. We've been getting a lot into Paladins too, so that'd be cool. If you're watching this video and you listen to kind of what we have to say about it, you could see it for yourself too.
Yeah, I've been playing this quite a bit, and we'll get into that in the video, why I'm playing it or what I think about it. But I've been playing it quite a bit, and what's cool about it is the community is really supportive. So, a game like Warzone that I've been streaming like crazy, I'm not getting any viewers. It's you fall through the cracks. There's too many people streaming the game. Paladins, the community, I don't know if I'm not going to say that it's smaller, and that's the reason, but for whatever reason, the community's out there, man. So, literally I've only been streaming it for 2 days, and every day I'm getting multiple people pop in. I'm getting new followers. I'm having people pop in and who actually want to play. They're like, hey, can I play with you? And I'm like, yeah, man,
That's
let's
awesome,
play.
man.
So I had 2 different people that I played with yesterday. So if you want to leave a follow, pop in there. If you got nothing else to watch, or maybe even if you want to play, check it out.
And
And
you have
here we got
yeah, you have mine up there too. Dope. Yeah. So that's
okay.
mine. That's my Facebook gaming page. It's at the trademarks. I also have at the trade, or I'm sorry, without the, it's just trademarks. That's my music page. But here I have everything from my gaming. I actually just switched over from Mixer. I've been trying to reach that level up. So if you guys could leave a follow, that would be super, super helpful for me. But yeah, come check us out, man. We've been doing, like I said, a lot of Paladin streaming. So if you're watching the video and you kind of like what we have to say about the game and you're interested, just come by, man. You can play with us. We always got an open spot for people watching. So definitely come check us out, man. So I guess we could kind of start by talking how this ball started rolling, right? And that was that I ventured onto the PS4 store, and I was looking for games to put on my PS4 because I haven't played it that much in a long time. And prior to that, I was really only using it for like Netflix and things that I put on like right before I go to bed because I had it set up at the TV in front of my bed. But excuse me, this El Segundo is like really hitting right now. Yeah, man, I was looking around the store and I found a couple cool free to play games, and that for me was big too. Just thinking to myself, well, if I don't have to spend any money and I can get some enjoyment out of this, get a reason to play my PS4, it's all the more worth it. I found this game, I downloaded it. I didn't get to it right away, but when I did, I gotta tell you, man, this was one of the very few games that just caught me right off the bat. There are a lot of games where initially the hype can get you, but you notice a couple minutes, even an hour into playing, it's whether or not it's your thing. And I felt like the entire time I played this, and even now, days later, that every time I play this is like my kind of thing. It's just, I mean, for all the details of the game are perfect. The class setup, the customization options, the skins, the maps are awesome. There's a lot going on there. We'll get more into detail about that. But I figured I'd bring up, dude, your take is a little different because I remember you had downloaded it and then you didn't get to it right away. We were planning on playing it, and then for whatever reason, we kind of called it off. We didn't play. And then you played it afterwards. So and when you first played it, you didn't even actually like it that much. Well, not that you didn't like it, but it was just not like, you didn't think it was your feel. So
it didn't click with me. So pretty much, yeah, like if anybody saw the last episode, we touched on it real quick that he was playing it. I was going to try it out. And we were also like, hey, next week we'll see kind of where he's at and we'll see where I'm at. So I didn't get a chance to play it last week, but early this week we started playing. So the first night that I played it, I actually wasn't really into it. And I think it had more to do with maybe the character that I was playing as. I was playing with that guy with the bow. I forget his name. But it didn't really click with me.
Oh, Shaolin?
Yeah, it must have been him. And in the back of my mind, too, I have this thing like, okay, well, I mean, it's a free-to-play game. It's probably not bad, but it's not like a big battle royale free-to-play. It's like kind of one of these other free-to-play games. I kind of had this kind of preconceived notion that maybe it wasn't that great. I had never heard of it. So this game's been out since 2016 for the PC, came out in 2018 for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, which shout out to it being on the Nintendo Switch. That's so awesome. I didn't realize. But I had never even heard of the game. I had heard of Realm Royale, which is the battle royale made by the same developer, but I'd never even heard about it. So you were kind of hyping it up, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably okay, but I didn't have high hopes for it. And the first time I played it earlier this week, I didn't dig it. And then for whatever reason, not yesterday, the day before, I picked I keep forgetting this character's name, even though I'm playing with Genos. Yeah, so yes. I played with Genos. Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of feeling this. This is kind of fun. And then, dude, we played for hours that day. And then yesterday we played just as much. And like now I'm like right on board with you. Like I get it. It clicked. I understand why you like the game so much. But yeah, at first I was like not sold. But it won me over pretty quick, especially once I found a character that kind of fit my play style and what I was interested in. And that's one cool thing I'll say about the game. I'll let you take it from here in a minute. But one cool thing I will say is that there's so many different characters that you're going to find a character that works for you. If you want to be more run and gun, there's that. You know, there's flank characters, assassin characters that want to get around them. There's sniper characters. There's tank characters. There's, I mean, healer classes. Like everything that you're looking for, you're going to find it. Some really cool artwork as well.
Even the intermediate as well. Even the intermediate between healer and like actual combat, like a damage dealer. You have the midway characters, you have midway characters between other classes, tanks and damage dealers, or tanks and healers. Yeah, there's a lot there.
Yeah, so there's something for everybody with it. So I mean, if you haven't tried it, it's free to play, so you can go download it. If it's not your style, that's fine. But I will say I was not interested really, and I also didn't even like my first night that I played it, which I didn't play too long, but I wasn't really digging it. It was not until I found a character that really suited my play style that I kind of got more into it. But I'll
Yeah.
let you kind of take it off from. What did you do that first week? Who were you playing as?
So I started playing the game as Victor, because Victor was I think for most people that aren't into those styles of games where you don't all have the same.
And let's describe the game quick.
Okay.
What is the game?
So the game is a 5-on-5 class-based um, objective capture point style competition. So pretty much there's a couple different modes. You have team deathmatch, of course. Um, and you have objective, where it's one of two things. It depends on the map, I believe. But there's either one objective in the middle of the map, and both teams try to occupy that for as long as possible, or there's another one where the objective bounces around the map and you have to try to get to it. And it's more or less the same thing. It's just it moves around a little bit. Or the main mode, which is the only mode that I think that they have for ranked right now. That's Siege. So Siege works like,
I think that's my favorite overall, honestly.
yeah, and I think it fits the time the best. And was TDM not having an actual spawn point, kind of spawning around the map? I don't usually like that. And also because the spawn spots are protected. I mean, as long as your team's not getting absolutely decimated, you'll be fine. You're not going to get spawn killed. But yeah, Siege works in the same way that Overwatch has this. I don't know if it's called this. I don't think it is. It's not called the same thing. It's not called Siege, but Overwatch has that. And this game is in likeness the most similar to Overwatch. It has like the same exact setup. I don't know if it's Overwatch might be 6-on-6. I haven't played in so long I couldn't tell you. But it's more or less the same format. There's a bunch of different classes. People do the same, like all different things.
First
Nobody does the
person.
same thing. First person. There's certain things that will put you in third person, but generally speaking, yes, the gameplay, it's all first person. Yeah, the thing about this game that makes it, I think, better than Overwatch for me, and I had said that too. The last time we talked about this, when we were talking about The Last of Us, we were kind of going through this current events. I had said that I was into Overwatch and that Overwatch was a good game and it did capture me in a way, but it didn't stick. And it was easier for me to fall off it, where now I'm playing this game, and maybe it's just that this is the second time around and I get to appreciate those things a little bit more, but I do feel like it's grabbed me in a different way, where I don't feel like I'm going to fall off it, and I have an incentive to actually play this game a lot. But I'm sorry, I was kind of like thrown off on a tangent here, but we were talking about the Siege thing. So with them, they have the same thing as Overwatch, and that's that you go to the objective, you capture. You have to be on the objective long enough. There's a bar on the top by the scoreboard, and that'll show you. By the way, it's the first team to 4 points. And so this bar will show you the progression for each team's hold time on the objective. If your team is the first team between the two to reach 100%, you get the payload. That rewards you 1 point. Then you have to push the payload. If you get stopped by the defense, they get a point. But here's the thing: you can't ever win on a defensive hold, right? So if it's 3-3 and you're pushing the payload and they stop you and you run out of time, because you do have a certain amount of time allotted to you. I believe
I'm
it's
going to
2
throw up
minutes.
some gameplay. We'll see if it loads just while you're talking for a minute,
Yeah,
so you can
yeah,
kind of
sure.
see what it looks like.
Yeah. There's Rob there. He's playing Genos. It might be. I think it's a little choppy on my side, but that's more or less. Yeah, that's the payload on his right. And it's crazy, man. There's a lot going on.
Here we're playing defensive because they were able to make that push. We were able to push the payload from the middle, and now our job is to now defend and not let them get it to where it needs to go.
Yeah. So, That's pretty much what it is. You just push that payload into the spawn point of the other team, more or less, and that gives you 2 points. Well, it gives you 1 point, but if you already captured the objective, obviously it's a total of two. And yeah, so it's the first team to get to four, but the games do last a long time because there's points where nobody's on the payload, and there's points where it's contested, and so it can really come down to the wire, which brings a lot of excitement into the game. That right there, what you're seeing is the customization screen, and that is what really sets this game so far apart from games like Overwatch. Besides just the excitement factor, you have the option of, and there is a customization for each character individually in a special way, but that right there, that screen is something where along the progression of the game, you can, I mean, like fully kit your character however you
Play it
want.
the
You
way
can
you
improve.
want. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can buy into these different things with the currency, these credits that you get, and you'll accumulate depending on how well you play. And you can use these to tweak your character. Do I want to have life rip, or I damage a person, I get a little bit of health? Do I want to get a big health bust buff? Is what I meant to say, when I actually kill someone. So there's all different ways to play this. It's all going to be your play style. Do I want to hit the armor, break the armor? Do I want to affect the healing? So there's all these little things where this may look a little complicated to you. Like even me, when the first couple hours I was playing it and Troy was kind of trying to explain stuff to me, I'm like, this is kind of complicated. This is kind of, but dude, I'm telling you, it's about as simple as it can get. And it adds a lot to the game, and it's worth it to learn these things. And it becomes very simple over time. Like, and if you've
yeah.
played games like League of Legends or any of these other games, you're kind of used to these kind of things. And this is even more simple than that.
Well, I'd
So,
say this is probably the closest in terms of what it is. I'd say this is very close to CS:GO. So in the same way that you
mm,
accumulate points during the match. So this is, I'm just going to elaborate a little bit here. This screen where you're seeing the cost for the credits, those are credits you're earning in game while you're playing. They're not credits that carry over. They're not your in-game currency for buying skins and doing other things like that. This is simply just for the game. So when you start each game, you start off with 0 credits. Or no, I'm sorry. You have 450 credits allotted to you. That's so you
yeah, and
can
you got to
buy.
be strategic to buy what you think is going to be best for your character and how you
Yeah.
want to play.
Or even in the sense of, like, putting together a kit to help battle the other team if they're being really offensive, and you have to worry like, okay, these guys are really going to mess me up. Maybe you want to invest a little bit more. He has it actually highlighted in this video, but Haven, so you're reducing the damage you take from direct attacks. That goes from 7% all the way to 20%, 21% as you build it out. But yeah, this is exactly like CS:GO. The only difference is instead of buying weapons, you're buying perks essentially, and these perks grant you certain ability buffs or stat buffs. And so yeah, it's nice, man, because you can really kind of gauge the opponent, and you can put your you can overhaul certain stats just to really help combat whatever their strat is, or you can really just build upon the things that you already love about your character or hate about your character. So you can make the
Yeah.
character what you want them to be by the end of the game, and then you really go in full throttle. So I
And
think
it's
it's
simple. I mean, look, you got defense, utility, healing, offense. You got 3 tiers for these different things that you want to buy. Like, look, if I want to ride into battle, because when you first start the game, you're able to ride a horse. So, like, let's say it's end game. Someone might want to invest in master riding so they can get further into the map later on in the game because they want to make that final push. So it's all about how you want to play, and you got to weigh out, intelligently, like what am I going to do here? What's going to work for me?
so what's okay. So saying what's working for me, I'd say for myself, what I found to be the most useful is trying your best to hold on to the points. I usually like to make my build um, uh, kind of in tune with whatever character I'm playing, but I do occasionally like to hold on to the points. And then what I'll do is I'll just I'll kind of save them for when I realize what it is I need from, like, like I said, if they're being super aggressive, I need a little bit more defense, or I might even invest a little bit into life rip to take away, so I can try to stay on
Get a little health, yeah.
try to stay on the
So like
field a
right
little bit
here, we
longer from doing damage.
successfully, I don't know how pixelated this is coming out, but we successfully defended. See, they're making that push, and we were able to hold them back right here. You'll see in a second where we held them off.
It
And
is a
that's where
little
you get
frame by
these
frame choppy, but you can more or less get what's
getting
going on here.
a general idea. And guys, bear with us. Our videos are going to get better as we go. I'm investing in. I'm going to be getting a laptop and a desktop soon. My lighting. I mean, I have a lot of stuff I got to get, but just try to bear with us. While we
This is
have this
just
stuff.
this is more or less just to give you guys watching a general idea of the gameplay. I know it's a frame by frame. It's not great. It's probably like 5 frames per second, but this is kind of just to show you um, the game. And like I said, if you're interested in actually checking the game out, just come check out our stream. We're playing it all the time, and there's a much better FPS on those streams. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, dude, this game is like really cool, man. And so, kind of touching on the customization option. We talked about how you can customize your characters during the match, but you also have the option of customizing your characters prior to the match. And so the reason why that's so big is that's probably the biggest impact you're going to have on you. So right in this screen, this is actually the champion screen where you can open that up. You can look at every single character and you can make a loadout for every single character.
Let's see. I don't know if I did. Maybe I didn't. It'd be cool if I could pull that up, but
I think no, it wouldn't be prior to that. It would be, I think, a little bit after that.
might
Maybe
have been. Oh, after you think?
Yeah, like maybe a little bit before so now we're in
This
the.
is where you're picking your characters. I definitely did build someone yesterday, but I might not have been streaming when I did it.
Maybe right here. Maybe did you look at no, I guess not. That's all good. I mean, so pretty much what I was referring to is that in that screen, that champion screen, you can find every single character, and if you click on the character, you can make a build for that character. And so it makes the character so much like it's just unique to however you play. And you can do the same thing you do with those credits in game, where you can really make the character however you want them to be. Like, and there's 4 different sections. So for each person, you have different abilities, different things that you offer. And for each category, there's 1 category for one of your specials, 1 for another. There's 3 total. And then there's another category for like a general gameplay kind of thing. So you can buff your health by however many points. You can buff your shielding by however many points, whatever it is. And that really gives you a huge optionality in terms of the game. So with Overwatch, they never offered that. You pick a character, the character's as straightforward as you get. Like whatever you pick, that's it. With this, you actually get to build out the character how you want them to be. And I think for me, that's another part that really spoke out to me. And I didn't even know about that first playing. But as I played longer, as whatever the days have gone by and I've gotten into it, I've seen that as such a huge factor into why I enjoy the game so much. Because I mean, you playing as Genos, it was one thing when you're using the pre-loadouts, whatever they have, already granted to you. You have 3, I think, when you first start. There's 3 loadouts for every character that they just give to you. But you can build, and the thing, the best, and you don't have to unlock anything. And like playing Genos as the pre-loadout versus the one that you made, I'm sure is a drastic difference.
Yeah, way better. 100%.
Yeah, I love that game, man. I think that game's perfect.
But yeah, I think it's definitely really cool. And like, as someone who's not super into these games typically, there's one game that maybe a lot of people have not heard of called Gigantic that came out a few years back. And pretty much it was similar to this game, but instead of, pushing that, what is it called? The carrier?
The payload.
The payload. Instead of pushing the payload, pretty much how it worked is each team, there's 2 teams. I don't remember if it was like 5v5 or 6v6, something like that. But same concept of these teams, different characters with different abilities. You're on a map, you spawn on either side. And then there were these points you'd have to get on the map. And then eventually, if you were able to get those points, you would push back into the enemy base and you would fight this big giant boss. That's why it was called Gigantic. And your job was to kill that boss to win. So this is one of the few games that reminds me of that game Gigantic that I loved. And I don't think the game was super popular, so I don't even know if anyone's played it, but shout out to anybody who's played that game. Like, that game was awesome. I love that game. And like this game reminds me art style, gameplay, like
Mm,
it's got those vibes for me, which for me is super cool and I like. Another thing is I'm not a big League of Legends fan, but I do like it.
mm,
And I get some League of Legends vibes too, where learning that really good team comp and getting that team comp together and that synergy where everybody's got their character that plays their place and does what they're supposed to do at the right time with the right build. And now at certain times during the game, they pull in and they do what they got to do. Or maybe
mm.
you set up a kill where someone's able to flank and sneak around them, and now you push. Like, how many times when you're playing as Rom are you like pushing the line forward, and we're kind of
Yeah.
helping you out, and then we got someone at the back pushing the payload uh, forward and ahead. So it's got this fun kind of team composition, teamwork thing that you might get from League of Legends. So I would say if you're into games like that, give this a try too, because it really, I really like it.
It is
There's
a
a
lot.
fun level there,
It
man.
has a lot to a lot of the same things to offer, and the only difference really is that you're not playing from a bird's eye view. You're playing in first person, and you're really engaging with that character. So, but yeah, it's really more or less the same thing. I mean, um, with this game, I I think it's easier though to find good team comps. So. Um, you do need to have all your bases covered. Like with this game, you do need to have a front line. You need to have somebody who's going to tank some of the damage for you. You're going to need to have somebody who can heal.
Yeah, if
I
you're
think.
all flank or all attack, you're screwed.
I mean, yeah, you look. Could you get the job done hypothetically?
Maybe.
Sure. But practically speaking, when you're playing, players that know what they're doing and have their bases covered, it is going to be hard. So you do have to be mindful of having those things, like having those elements, but it is easier to pull that all together. There are specific character matchups that I'm sure work great, but I'm saying it's easier to kind of uh, establish that with anybody. You don't really it's not like there's such a huge gap between using this person than it is from using that person and maybe that person. So it's just easier to kind of find good, like you said, chemistry with the people that you're playing. And I think for a game that has so many characters and to still offer that on such a high level is pretty amazing, man. I mean, you could use practically anybody in the game, and so long as you know what you're doing, you can kind of find a way to make it work. Like I said,
Yeah, definitely.
Barring that you aren't just picking willy-nilly kind of whatever you want and you're not covering the bases. If you cover the bases, that's what I'm trying to say. Like if you cover every base, you have a front line, you have a support, you have a flank, and you can kind of meet that criteria. And they'll tell you in the game when you're in that character screen and you're loading and picking they'll tell you like there's exclamation points to be like no flank, no attack.
Oh really? I didn't even realize that. That's cool.
Yeah, and so but it just
don't do that.
You kind of meet that criteria, you have that, you can really kind of pick any assortment of people. And that's what I think where a lot of the fun of the game is. But dude, there's so many characters. Like what is it, 45, 47 characters or something? It's insane.
Gotta be, yeah.
Yeah, it's like so many. So like I guess the cool thing to talk about would be like actually now that I'm thinking about it, you had said to me, you had asked me earlier, we kind of jumped past it, but you were saying who was I using when I first started, and I was gonna say for people that were just starting to play this game, Victor is probably the most normal in terms of the characters. Victor is the most like he's actually off
Right
to
here.
right over there. So he's the most like your standard FPS shooter kind of guy. Not to say he doesn't have more to offer than that. He does. But he's just the most like that in terms of his abilities. So like he has like a standard sprint. Not everybody's going to have a sprint in this game. Some people have other ways of maneuvering around the map. You can also increase your mobility in general. But because you rely so much on the horse to get back into the battle, you don't need a sprint as much. Which is another thing I love. In Overwatch, they didn't have that. It took forever for you to get back to where you wanted to be in the map.
Oh, okay.
Wow. But so Victor has a lot of those same things. He has an ADS, which is the left trigger, or L2 if you're playing on PS4. He has a standard shot. Everybody has a pretty standard shot for the most part with their right trigger or R2. But he's got a grenade with his left bumper. He's got his right bumper is the same as his. If you just click in the stick, the left stick, you sprint. But for me, that was the easiest kind of segue into the game. But as I started to play other characters more, I just started to realize that you can see it, man. There's so many people on the screen, and it's amazing, man. The difference in the way that these characters work, and just finding how to do it properly is a challenge in and of itself. But if you can do that, you get so much enjoyment out of this. And I'm sure, that's, same for you, man. You went from playing, I think the first person you played was Victor, if not Shaolin.
It was Victor, yeah. Now that you're saying it, it was Victor.
And then you went right to Genos, and it's like right off the bat. He doesn't have a standard sprint, and he doesn't have standard mechanics, but just works.
He's got that RB move where he's kind of able to heal and get away quicker, though. So it kind of offsets itself. But yeah, certain characters don't have anything like that, like even Rom. Rom kind of has that. He's got that move where he kind of runs forward and tackles. I can't remember the name of that. Sometimes that can get you out of a bind, but that's more an offensive attack than it is defensive or a fleeing attack.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you got to learn look how many different characters there are here. And look, here's your criteria. You got damage, flank, frontline, and support. And then there's kind of in-betweeners is what I would call them. Some are really good at that one specific thing, and then there's other who are kind of good at that, but they're also kind of good at dealing some damage or other things as well. So there's a really good variety between all these different characters. One thing I will say is when you start the game off, you don't have every character unlocked. It's a free-to-play game. They need to figure out ways of making money. So obviously they have a battle pass. They have skins and different things you can buy for different characters. One thing they have right now, I think it's normally $30 is to unlock all the characters. Right now it's on sale for $15. So if you are interested in the game, I suggest maybe buying that right off the bat. And then now you have all these different characters that you can try out and figure out which one works for you. Every character,
so you not only, that's one thing I just wanted to bring up, you not only get every single character that's available now, but you also get any character that ever comes out in the future.
Yeah, that's a great point too. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, so you're set. You're set. Now, as they add more characters, you're going to get those characters, which is awesome.
But their array of different people, and just between the way that they shoot and the way that they maneuver, and it's so diverse, man. And everybody's got such a specific thing that they just do so well. Whether even if that's an intermediate kind of thing, but if they provide that role in a good way, each character can even if they are all intermediates, can do that in such different ways, which is that diversity I was talking about. Just having, even if it's a lot of the same thing, being able to do it in different ways. You know what I mean?
Even my guy's technically a healer, but he's how I would describe an in-betweener. He kind of heals, he can heal, but it's not really the best thing in the world for him. So I can still do a decent amount of damage. My ultimate attack, I don't know if that's even what it's called, but that's what I always call it, because I remember from League, it's the ultimate. Ulti is what I call it. So that attack actually does work. It'll blast through walls. It'll do really good. So I love that attack. But he might be a healer, but he can still get kills. There are plenty of games where I have a crazy amount of kills.
Yeah, I that's why I really like Genos too, because he was one of the second characters I picked. He was one of the first characters I had, so that was why I
think he's one of the characters that's right there from the beginning, right?
Yeah, he's one of
even if you didn't buy the thing.
Yeah, you have I think 8 characters predisposed to you. Right off the bat, you're given, I think it's 8. Anyways, but you have enough credits within a couple of games to buy a character. Anyways, they range anywhere from 30,000 gold to 60,000 gold, but you can bank a decent amount of gold every time you play. So, especially if you're playing well, I'm sure that affects that rate a little bit. But you can buy characters. So if there's somebody you saw online and you didn't want to buy the battle pass and you just kind of wanted to jump right in and have them, that's great.
That money, and it's money you get in the game, so you don't even have to spend money. This is a game that you definitely could just not spend a dime for probably months and you have a lot of fun. Dude, I'm out of beer, so I may just have a nice little shot of vodka. You know,
Little Sveka, little
something,
action.
something. I'm most of the way through this bottle.
I switched my beer too. I have the Industrial Arts Wrench now. This one's fucking. This is official.
Dude, you've been buying like exclusively good beer like for the last like 6 months or more. Like
I had a point to prove, man. You put me under the
I know I
under the
made fun
bus
of him
with
about
that.
the White Claw for too long, and he's like, "Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah."
I was like, dude, I have good taste. I'll prove it to you. But yeah. So where were we at? We were talking about
Cheers, there, buddy.
Oh, yep. Hold on. Sorry. Let's get one of those. Cheers, my guy. Ah, beautiful. Yeah, so where were we at? We were talking about
We're kind
talking
of
about
just
the
talking about the
characters.
characters, yeah.
Okay. And so right now, what would you say your tier list is for your top, let's say top 5. Let's just keep it open because obviously we try to play certain characters more so than others, and that's okay. So actually I wanted to say this because I think this is kind of important, especially if it is people that are listening that are interested in playing the game and don't want to spend the money. I will tell you this: don't get too fixated on using one character, and there's a couple of reasons why. I'll tell you that now.
Good point.
One is that if the character gets picked, you can't use that character if on the same team if you're playing casual. So what I mean by that is if somebody picks Victor, for instance, I can't play Victor on my team. They can be a Victor on the other team as well, but I can't pick Victor if someone else on my team has him. But now here's where it gets a little bit more restrictive. Okay, let's use that for lack of better words. When you get into ranked, you can't. Well, actually, let me start off by saying when you get into ranked, there's a ban process which starts the second the match everybody loads into the match, and that's right at the character select screen. And each team has a shot at banning 2 characters each. I don't know if it randomizes your ban if you don't pick somebody or you just leave out one of your bans. I'm not really sure how that works. But this gives an opportunity for both teams to completely take out of the game anything that they see as a threat to what their team strat is. That's very big in deciding who the champion, who the victor is going to be between the 2 teams. And so that's one big reason why you don't get too fixated on one character, because if they ban your character, well, then you're asked out anyways. But here's another thing. So now even past that, you have 4 characters that completely get taken off the screen. Now in ranked, the way that it works, and obviously this is open to change if they ever decide to. I don't think it will, though. Not only could your character get banned, but now if the other team picks your character, you can't use them. There's no 2 of the same character. That's in ranked. There's only one of that character. I want to
say League works that way as well. So that there's another little similarity there too. I don't think you can have duplicate characters. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think you can in League.
Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of League too, with the character picking thing, the other day I ran into a funny situation where I was playing and I picked Victor and I was in ranked. And it was one of the first matches I'd ever played in ranked. And someone tried to trade me Ruckus for my Victor. It was on my team.
Yeah,
it was
a guy,
about
this.
Yeah, there was a guy on my team who wanted to play Victor, and I picked Victor. Also, with that team or the character selection thing, it goes between it's not everybody just jumps in and everybody has to slam on a character first. No, it goes in turns. So whoever vetoed first.
When you're doing ranked.
Yes, when you're doing ranked, whoever vetoes first, I believe, gets the first pick of the characters, and that they get 1 pick. So the first person who vetoed on either team, he gets to pick his character. Then 2 people on the other team get to pick theirs, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of how it works. And then you have a last guy who just picks whoever's left. But here's the thing, though. You could get your character picked on the other side, and then you have no way. It's just good. I think a rule of thumb in this game is to compile 3 or even 5 if you're into it characters that you really, really like and vibe with. And then there's a wide array of different people who do different things. I had said that before, and I really mean that. I can't stress it enough. Everybody is super unique, but especially in a game where you can have your character taken away from you, it's important to have backups.
You got to diversify a little bit and be ready to play somebody else. Yeah, 100%.
So, well, okay, so that was my original question. What
characters am I
what are
liking?
your top 5? Yeah, let's say top 5.
I don't even know. Maybe I can come up with the top 5. So I'll pick my number 1. So it's Genos right off the bat. This guy right here, I love him. He's a healer. I could do a lot of damage with him as well. And you know what? I'm not a crazy good healer. Like his healing abilities is limited. But my heals are kind of like I got to strategically place my heals. Like sometimes you'll be playing as what's her name, Saris.
Yeah.
So she's actually a really good healer. So sometimes Troy will be playing as Saris, and he needs just a little bit of health to kind of help him out because he's got a bunch of people attacking him. I could give him that, and that's where like his role works out really well, and his offensive abilities I really like. So I really like playing. He's my favorite right now. I would say my second favorite is Rom, who's got this like giant minigun. He's really super defensive. You have a 500 round clip on this minigun. There's when you hold L, you have this ability where you fire it faster. And then you have this other ability that as you're damaging people, you can now gather up kind of the damage that you did to them and pull that as armor for yourself. So if you play really smart and man, if you have somebody healing you, you're almost untouchable as Rom. So Rom is a really good character if you can learn to play as him. And if you have a healer with you, he's like almost unstoppable.
I love him, man. He's so good.
Third, I would say right here, Barrack. He's this little dwarf. He could put down these little turrets. And obviously, as you play the game, and there's those things that you can spend your credits on in the game, so you could raise up your cooldown so you could place things more frequently. You're limited. You can't put like 100 turrets down. I think you can only put down 2 at a time. But either way, like let's say someone destroys it. If I want to invest in getting that cooldown upgraded, now I might be able to put that turret down quicker if it was destroyed. So he's really cool. He's got a cool armor shield that he can put up that you can fire through. And what I like to do is set that up in a nice, choke point, a small area, and get my turrets right behind that shield that I threw up. And they also heal you. That's the other thing about those turrets. Not only are they shooting and firing, but they're also going to heal you when you stand next to them. So Barrack's my number 3. Number 4, I'm almost going to go with Vivian. I think this is Vivian right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's really cool. I didn't like her the first game I played with her, but as I played with her more, I realized it's all about timing because she's very offensive. She could do a lot of work. She also has a shield she can kind of throw up that's kind of like Gibraltar in Apex Legends, if you've played that. You got to get the timing down with her, but she's a really cool character, very good offense. Who else? If I'm going to pick another person, I played as, where is she? This character. I don't even remember her name. She's a sniper. And what you can do is you can, when you're aiming down your sight, if you hold L, or what, if you're on the mouse, I'm not sure what button you hold. It's probably just the right, click to pull down the sights. If you're holding it, you'll fire off a really powerful shot. So the longer you're holding that, the more the shot will do, the more damage that shot will do. So you can fire at a faster rate, but it'll do less damage. Or you can really time these shots, hold it till that bar fills up completely, and then when you fire, you could pretty much kill someone with a headshot in 2 shots if it's a fully charged shot. So
it's just like a railgun, right? That's like what her thing is.
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And when someone's up close to you, if you're not aiming down the sights and you just fire, you can fire really fast. So she throws these little mines down too. The mines are a little weird because it almost seems like characters will run right next to them and they won't get hit by them. So her mines are, I feel like, a little weak, but she's a cool character. I played as her a couple of games yesterday, and I had fun with her. One thing I will say is, though, you got to have a good team comp. Like, so see on the left here, this is where we were all picking our characters. You'll see, I don't know if you can see it on the right here, they're picking theirs as well. But when you see people picking different characters, like we got a healer here. So we're like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll fill in someone who's more attack. Or maybe, you're going to do different things. So you want to be very aware of what your team is picking, and you want to adapt. Because if you have too much of one kind of attack, you're not going to do well. And that's what happened when I played as that sniper. I forget her name. But we had no healers and we had like no defensive people. So we ended up losing that game pretty bad. So I got some good kills with her. I had fun with her. She's a cool character, but she was not the right character to pick based on what everybody else was picking here. Here, if I had picked her with this team comp right here, where we got a healer here. I mean, I ended up picking Genos as kind of a healer, but even just with this one, this actually shout out to this kid right here. He was in my stream yesterday, and I ended up playing with him for a little while. It was fun. But she drops like a wolf or like a fox who heals you. But you want to be very aware of what your team comp is so you can adapt to it. But I definitely like that character. She was pretty cool. I don't know if I don't think I'll pick another one right now. Maybe we'll let you pick yours. Kind of see which ones you like.
You reached your 5, right? So that makes sense. I think it's a solid top 5. They're all good picks. I don't really. I think outside of, I think her name's Carissa. If I don't know, I could be wrong about that, something like that. But
here?
The sniper one. No, that's Tyra.
Oh, her.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think everybody outside of her I've used before, and I definitely vibe with your choices. Like, I actually would say Rom is my number 2. My number, I'll actually count down because kind of better that way. I think for my number 5, I'd probably put Ash. I think Ash is a strong number 5 for me. I know how to use her. She's on the top left, right next to Androxus. A little bit. Yep, right there. So Ash, yeah, she's like an amazing tank, especially if you get her to level 8, you unlock her talent. So every character on top of the loadouts you have, I don't know why I didn't bring this up. They have talents as well. Talents work the same way as loadouts almost, where they give you options in terms of how your character operates, but they're in a bigger way. They make major differences, and there's 3 different choices for each character. With her, you unlock what I think is the best one at level 8, and I ended up going with that one, and that makes her shield a lot stronger. I built upon that in her loadout to begin with, and she's just been such a good, reliable choice for me in a lot of situations where I had a weird team comp and I didn't kind of know where I wanted to go. If I felt like I needed to be able to be offensive enough, her standard attack too works like as an AoE, because she shoots this little combustible like scrap of metal, and it blows up in a vicinity. I think it's anywhere. I want to say like it travels a total of like 8 meters in front of her. If it does make contact with another object, it'll blow up on that object, but it affects things in a vicinity. So it's not just a direct fire attack, which I really like. So she can provide some kind of pressure.
It's an area of effect attack, right?
Yeah. So she can provide that damage across the board, as well as providing a really good defense, which is why I like her so much. I'd say for a number 4, I'd probably go with that's tough. Number 4 for me, I'm gonna have to say maybe, you know what? I might just go with Khan, dude. Well, because what? So it'd be.
Is this Khan?
No, Khan is that guy actually right on the right of Genos. He's the knight.
Right here? I don't think I played his name.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to replace – no. I'm going to replace Khan. If you go 2 spaces to the right, you can find Koga, and I'm going to put Koga as my number 4. Koga is the man. And the only reason he's sitting at number 4 and he's not anywhere higher on my list is I haven't had enough time to play with him. But if I did, I can tell you, if I just got his play style down a little bit better, he does so much for his team. He has such great abilities. He has 2 different stances he can be in, 2 different ways of attacking. His abilities actually change with the stance that he's in, which makes him even that much more unique. But he's just got a lot to offer, and I think as a flank, he probably does one of the best jobs at doing that. And like I said, dude, I've only played with him maybe a couple rounds. Like I've only played with him maybe 2-3 matches, and I just had such a good time playing as him. I got so much enjoyment out of it. I felt like whether we won or we lost, I provided, the kind of play that I was supposed to. I think I just did what I was supposed to do with him. I got the kills, or, I was able to provide pressure on the sides and stuff, which obviously in a game where you're constantly moving an objective forward and stuff, well, at least in ranked, having somebody to provide pressure on different angles is super important. That's like major key. And he does that in such a great way. So I'm going to have to give that number 4 to Koga. I'd say for number 3, I'm going to put Victor on. So Victor was actually my number 1. And that might've just been because, I was kind of just the most accustomed to using him. He's one of the first characters allotted to you in that first 8 characters that you're given.
Yeah, I would say if you're kind of standoffish about trying this game out and you're into first person shooters, he's going to be the easiest, most digestible character to just hop in there and play with. So I think for that reason, he definitely has a place. Plus, he does insane damage. I mean, if someone's good with him, he is the scariest person on the map.
Yep. No, I agree. And that's actually why, though, like, I think it goes even past maybe just because of he was one of the easiest ways to kind of segue into this game. But I will say, like, even now playing as him, I'd still put him as number 3 just because it's like, dude, he does so much damage. He provides so much. He can self-heal by running with one of his talents. And then you can add armor on or max health on top of him. You can increase that cap. You can do so much with this guy, and he just does such a good job of providing efficient damage at a decent range too. Like I'd say at a pretty long range, he can do that. And so I think that's why he's a valuable person. He's going to be one of the top picks in every matchup you see. He's definitely one of them. But enough about Victor. Let's move on to the number 2. That's Rom. I'm picking the same number 2 as you. It's like you said, man. He's literally unstoppable if he has the right people around him. If you have a healer, even just a healer, that's enough to put him over the top. He's already over the top. I have been in multiple situations where I was against high damage dealers and was in enough range to do the damage and compensate for the health lost. And, fighting 3 people at once and just being okay and knowing I can still survive. The thing with him I've seen the most is like, if you don't pay attention to his health and his armor intake and like the cooldown on it's kind of general stuff, I guess, but especially with his health, is just not paying attention to how it's dropping and when you need to pull in. Because the way he works, I'll go into a little bit more detail about this. The way that he works is that every 6 shots that get landed on a person, he drops a piece of their soul. And their soul is essentially armor and or health. It can be if you use if you build a loadout and you use the cards the right way, you can improve that. So he also it does work as armor, but you can also take it back and get health back as well, which is something I invested in my loadout. But he's one of those people, man. If you get close enough, you actually just acquire the piece of their soul. So you can literally take a bit of their soul while firing at them and keep doing that and keep having them drop health and armor for you. So even if they're full fire on you, that's him right there. That's his minigun. You click the left trigger, you can like super fire it. You don't exhaust any ammo for I think 3 seconds total. And I think that can even be increased in his loadout, his card choice. But dude, he's like he's so overwhelming, man. If you stay up on somebody and you can continually do damage to them and make them drop those pieces of the soul, you can just nonstop fire. And then on top of it, if you get yourself in a tough situation where you really start dropping health, you click his left bumper and or L1, and that's his soul harvest move, where any bit of soul, any bit of that's left on the field will be absorbed into you, and then you get all that health and that armor. So he can essentially like always stack himself with a major amount of health, a major amount of armor. He can always do an insane amount of damage. Like the guy just has so much to offer on a team, and just being he's
there it is right there.
Yeah, that's
I just got my armor
right
back.
There. You were at like next to no health, and here you are, and then you got healed a little bit from the Fox, and there you are back in 8,450, and before you even
we were able to cap the point.
Yep, and before you take any health damage, your shield gets taken away.
There it is again. Bam, got a little armor back.
And you're almost unstoppable. So if you can, I think a great investment for him is Kronos. That's one of the buyout options when you're in the game for the credits. That reduces your cooldown on standard abilities that you have. And for him, that's super important because with him, if you can keep soul absorbing in tough situations, you almost never die. Because when you're up close on somebody, you're absorbing them anyways, you're life siphoning, and then if you're far away enough but the damage has still been dealt, you can take away, pull in, and get away from long range attacks. He also has the R1 or right bumper. I'm not really sure what it is on mouse, but that activates his Juggernaut run, and that's
That's
even
what I was
something.
just doing a second ago.
Yeah, that's even something that you can't you can build upon in the loadout option screen. That's one of the talents he has. It actually makes it where you reduce your damage taken by 50% while you're using that move, which means that you can not only run around, hit people, do damage, bounce them away from the objective, but you can also take resisted damage. And that damage mitigation can be the difference between you getting out of a sticky situation and you not. So he has multiple options to recover health, stay in the game, and he does this an assload of damage. Just an amazing, if you ask me, probably the best frontline push in the game. But I'll move on. I'll move on to my number one. My number one is Ceres. Ceres is another predisposed character, if I'm not mistaken. I think she's one of the first characters that you're given. She is without a doubt, and well, obviously this is biased. This is my opinion. But in my mind, she is without a doubt the best character. She offers everything from healing to damage to support to flank. She can
cloak too, right?
She can cloak. Yeah, she can cloak herself. You can make the cloak activation time go down. You can increase your armor and your health. One of her talents let her stack her health and her damage output if you stay in the game. So the longer you stay in the game, inevitably the stronger and more durable you become. And her healing is I think it has to be the best in the game. Now I played with
feels like it.
I played with a totally, wild arrangement of teammates in every facet of the game. And I can tell you, her without a doubt, she provides the best healing. And the reason why is because on her cards, she has one of her cards offers her health back as health granted, right? So any health that she as she's recovering you, which I think the total activation time or active time for that healing is I want to say 2.5 seconds to 3 seconds or something like that, or maybe whatever. But she can one of her cards lets her get back 380 health for every second that she does it. Now here's where it gets even more wild. If you don't decide to go down the route of having the talent where she increases and buffs her own health and damage, she also can she has another talent where she can also now heal for a second longer. So not only are you healing somebody on a massive rate, we're also getting back large dividends of health. So in situations where you're getting pressed by multiple people taking damage from different angles, you can just go heal somebody and essentially self-recover. So now you're providing support. You're allowing somebody to stay in the game, but you're also allowing yourself to stay in the game. So she's multi-purpose in that way. And then to make it even more obscene, and now mind you, I'm only talking about the health factor right here. Right? I'm only talking.
Are you saying she's overpowered?
I'm not.
Are you
saying that
she's
all.
OP?
I don't know. I mean, everybody picks her in every game I've been in, but I don't think. No, she's definitely not overpowered.
Mm-hmm.
She is. No, like all jokes aside, she's way beyond that. If there was a definition of OP in this game, she's it. She has it all. She can, and that's one thing I didn't even say, dude. When she's cloaked, she takes no damage. So not only is she invisible, but you can't be hurt. So if you hit your cooldown well enough and you wait it out and time out your shadow travels, that's the cloaking, you can also activate your I don't know what it's called. It activates for every single character if you're not using any combat type moves, like if you're not firing your weapon, if you're not being hit, or you're not using a move that deals damage, you actually have a meter right below your health bar, and if that drops low enough, it's like your non-combat meter. If that drops to a certain, like whatever it is, 0%, you actually automatically gain health back. it's not the greatest rate, but it's still nonetheless health back. But with her, if you time out the shadow travels correctly, she can get her health back while shadow traveling, and she has a card, for her shadow travel that allows her to get health back while she's shadow traveling. So she's not only one of the most durable, but her healing is crazy. I didn't get to this. I keep going off on tangents just because I love this character and there's so much to say about her. But the most insane thing about the healing is not only with the cards can you heal yourself and you can heal people, and if you activate the talent, you can heal for even longer, which inevitably means you heal yourself for longer. Dude, there's 1,000 ways to work the character, but here's where it gets wild. No matter what card you pick, no matter what talent you choose to go with, if you heal somebody, it heals anybody within a 40-unit distance of that person that you're healing. So you can literally heal the entire team. The entire team, yourself included. You can heal every single person on that team if they're within the vicinity. So it's just like, oh, your Rom's about to go down. He's pressing the objective and trying to push line on them. Okay, I'll heal that guy. But now everybody else that's sitting behind him providing cover fire is now healed as well. And, on top of that, now I'm healed too. Like, it's nuts, man. It is absolutely insane. She's so good.
Yeah. No, I think, I mean, I will say this too, like the games that you don't play as her, I feel it. Because every time you're playing as her, like I feel so safe and secure. And the games you're not as her, like I got to be a lot more careful because I can't guarantee that I'm going to be healed by you. But yeah, she's awesome, man. And like you said, she's in pretty much every game, like almost any time.
I think she gets picked near, like, I'd say 90% of the games that I play, I think that there's at least one person picking her. I mean, granted, recently we haven't been playing as much ranked, and that's really just because I know you were trying to build your level. You need to be level 15.
Yeah, I couldn't play ranked.
Yeah, so you need to be level 15 before
I don't know what I am
ranked.
now. I may have hit 15 last night.
I think you're 15 now, yeah. But yeah, you have to be level 15 to play ranked, but I haven't really been playing ranked that much. But in ranked, she either gets banned or gets picked before I even get to touch her. So you can tell, she's like, the thing is too, even her, I don't mean to keep, jawing on about this, but I got to be honest, like there's just so much to be said. Even her fire, like her standard damage dealing move is insane. So the way it works is
Is that where she shoots those balls of fire?
Yep. They're like these like shadow orb type things.
I've got messed up by those a couple times.
Or they can, I mean, it depends on, that's another cool thing I didn't even bother to bring up, but another really awesome thing is depending on the weapon skin that you pick, it changes the effect of your weapon as well. So the color of the bullets or what they look like, that's another huge reason why skins in this game are so much better than a lot of other games. But oh man, you're getting back in.
This is my last one.
Cheers, man. Cheers.
It's my last one.
There you go, brother. So with her, the reason why it's even more insane is, dude, she'll blast you with orbs, but the more orbs that hit you, the more damage that gets stacked. And her L1 works the same as ROM's, where she'll soul harvest essentially. I don't remember what it's called.
God.
Yeah. So she takes back all that damage that's done. That multiplier gets eliminated from you, but as she's doing it, it explodes on you. So there's like a multiplier in her damage that's already being done, and then that affects the total outcome. So you could dip behind a wall, and if I've already hit you enough times and you don't go to heal or nobody heals you, I'll hit it and you're dead. You'll die behind a wall. Like I don't even have to see you, and I can kill you.
Well, that's kind of like Genos' ultimate. I can kind of hit people behind stuff. I will say, I mean, it's got this kind of cone, maybe not even cone. It's just a circular kind of attack pattern. And if they're outside of that, you'll totally miss. So there are some times where I totally miss my ultimate, but if I can land that ultimate, man, it's so satisfying. And that's where I offensively can do a lot more than I normally can.
I think that compensates for where he doesn't have offense, because you are that nice middle ground, but your ult is so offense heavy that it just like, okay, well, maybe regularly you're not doing all that much damage, but once you hit that ult, if they're all piled up, that's another thing too. Our team comp, if I'm using my best and you're using your best, dude,
I don't think we ever lose.
No, and that's another thing
Yeah.
too, is they work so well together because my alt will bring I throw out this little like cauldron type orb thing. I don't even know, it's I guess an orb, but it masses everybody together. So
Mm.
if the timing's correct, I can mass everybody, and you can literally shoot your alt and catch every single person while they're stuck in that. Mind you, they can't use any moves, so there's no way for them to heal past the damage or sustain it. You can literally one shot every single person on the field if those things are timed correctly, which is
Mm.
why it's insanely scary.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would have to say, I mean, now it's a week later. You've been playing it a little bit longer than me. I kind of just started this week, but I'm kind of a believer. I think it's a really fun game. Here's what I'll say too that's cool. Like, let's say you never even play this game, you're not interested. I would say that it's cool to be able to find a game that you had not even heard of, and that let alone is a free to play game that is also cross platform. So what I would say is, as a takeaway, so if you listen to this and it's just not your thing and you still don't really want to play it, that's totally fine. But just I would say be a little more open minded that there are games out there that you may have never even heard of that
Yep.
might be way up your alley. So go out there, maybe try a game you didn't think you were going to want, or maybe if you're looking through the game store and you see something that you want to download, go for it, man. Because there's stuff out there. There's some cool games out there that you might not have otherwise ever played, and you're missing out on some good fun.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree, and that's where my um like discovery of this game came to be, because I was looking for games that just seemed like a good fit, something that I'd be interested in playing, and that was kind of how I stumbled upon it. And I got to be honest, I'm so glad I did. I think this game has done such a great job at keeping itself alive. It seems like the community's still there. I know Overwatch has done the same thing, and I keep comparing it, but I really do feel like that is the closest game to Overwatch that exists currently. Um, Although not to say it doesn't have those other game elements in there like League of Legends, but um, it's done a great job of keeping itself alive, and it's currently still up and running. There's still updates coming out for it. There's still new characters to be released. We're still waiting on 3 for this season, I believe. Um, but yeah, and have to have so much variation, right? I mean, you have 47 characters, whatever it is. It's not like you have this limited list of people, and yeah, even past the bands, even past people on your team picking your characters, you have options, and there's
Yeah.
characters that have likeness to other characters. So yeah, I think
That's a good point too, because some of the characters are kind of like very unique, but a lot of them are somewhat similar in some ways. So maybe there's one guy you tried that you kind of liked him, but he wasn't just right. They might have another character who's similar enough that might be perfect for you. So there's a good, I would say you'd be hard pressed to not find at least a couple characters that you're like, this is totally my play style. This is fun. This is what I like to play as. Like they got something for everybody, which
yeah.
is cool. A lot of games don't have that.
No, a lot of games are more in particular, like in terms of what they have for you to get. Like you'll play a game and you'll be like, oh well, it's a lot of the same thing, or it's a lot of too much. And I think they just have a nice bridge between everything. And I think that's also why you can develop such an easy team chemistry when you're playing, and why you can have so much fun with the game, man. Because anybody that jumps into this game, new or existing players, I think you're just in for a delight. It's exactly what you want out of the game. It just provides such a fun experience for anybody. And the beauty of it is, hey, I don't like it, and I played 3 or 4 games. I played a couple days. It's just not my fit. You didn't spend any money. You literally spent nothing. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, you spent a little time, sure, but you delete the game, close it up, and that's it. You never
And
look
that's what I
back.
would say take away from this video. Like, say you still have no interest in playing this game. Like, the takeaway should be there are games out there that are fun. You may have never heard of them. And there
Mhm.
might be something out there for you that'd be awesome. And it might even be free to play. So I would just say keep that in mind. It's cool. Like keep your mind open because there might be stuff out there that you might like.
So yeah, and that speaking of that, shout out to Dauntless. So Dauntless is made by Epic Games, same people who make Fortnite. Um, you can link your Epic account to that game. That's another free to play. Obviously provides in-game purchases, as most of these games do, if not all of them.
What's the play style like? What type of
Um,
game is it?
So that game is like a Monster Hunter Online. So you have, you and your buddies can go on, you can play together. Um, it's a 4-man squad. You pretty much, it's almost like Cuphead in a way, where like every level you go into, it's just, it's a boss battle.
That's cool.
But it's a lot of fun. There's a ton of different monsters, and I'm hoping that maybe we can make that a project for the coming weeks where we could get into that, kind of give that some time, and maybe we'll touch on that in the next video. I guess before we go, do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I would just say it's a really fun game. If you guys want to tune into our streams, it's the_every_gamer on Mixer. My Instagram is the Every Gamer. So at the Every Gamer on Instagram. I got all the links in the bio if you want to look at any of that stuff. Check us out, see if you want to play it. If you want to come play with us, hit us up, let us know. Troy, yours is trademarks at in Facebook Gaming. What's the actual URL for it?
I think it's just facebook.com. I would assume / the trademark. So at the trademarks, Facebook Gaming, you can check me out there.
What's your Instagram?
Actually, a disclaimer for that. I don't know if I had brought this up already, but I just want to touch on this. I'm actually taking a quick hiatus on my streams right now. I've been pretty regularly streaming for a very long time, but I've run into a bit of an issue with my PS4 not picking up the audio feed going through to the computer. So I'm actually getting a splitter for the headphone jack, because I don't know why, but PS4s are set up in a certain way where if you plug in the headphones, you don't receive the audio on the game capture software. So I'm getting something called a link chat. That's through Elgato Gaming. That's the HDS60 that I use when I stream, or HD60S. So I'm taking a quick kind of break from doing any streams currently. I'll be back at it probably by Tuesday or Wednesday of this coming week. If you're seeing this video,
So probably by next video.
Yeah. So I mean, what's today? I can tell you.
Although
right
we
now.
may do another video this weekend, we'll see. But either way, by the time you guys see it, just tune in to me then for now. For a week.
Yeah. No. Just go strictly to Rob for the time being. I mean, so I should be
we're
back.
mostly streaming together a lot of the time anyway. So
that is true. I'll be back up to speed probably by the 19th or the 20th of May. So very soon. I'm waiting for that to come in, and then once that comes in, I'll be back to it. But yeah, otherwise, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the chat. Hopefully this is something that interested you. Oh, by the way, yeah, check out that dope fucking t-shirt. That's some Adventure Time Japanese shit right there.
Man, I don't know what it says, but it's pretty cool.
My man Finn. But yeah, man, I hope you guys really like this. Feel free to leave any comments or, questions, anything you have below. We'd love to talk to you guys. And obviously, if you even want to come play with us, that'd be awesome too. We'd love to have people. We always try to invite anybody that's watching, any of the people that are there for our streams, to come and join us. It's always a great experience. We're always looking for people to play with. And in the next episode, we're hoping to talk to one of my buddies about Fortnite. He's a Fortnite streamer. Heavy into that, and we'll be kind of touching on that a little bit in our next episode. But I guess I'll get you guys in the next one. As always, crack one, sit back, get woke.